Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of the Hampton Bays Water District Commissioners to order on this 12th day of May, 2022. Please rise and join us for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Okay. Supervisor Schneiderman.
Here.
Councilwoman McNamara. Here. Councilman Martell.
Here.
Councilman Bouvier.
Here.
Councilman Scavone.
Present.
We don't have to read the notice of the meeting for these, right?
No.
All right, that's fine. All right, so everybody's here. Let me bring up some of the Water District folks.
We have a little change. Chris Weber from H2M. John Collins can be here.
All right, substituting for John Collins,
Yeah.
Chris Weber.
John Collins.
All right, you guys want to come up? Come up.
Sure.
So we got Richard McEwen, Water District Superintendent, James Cappers, Assistant Water District Superintendent, and Chris Weber for Engineer for H2M. All right, thank you guys for coming. This is what, our quarterly meeting? Is that how often we do it? It is.
Second one out of three.
Oh, we do 3 a year?
3 a year. We used to do two, but I guess we added one just to touch base in the middle of the year.
Every 4 months. it
Pretty
works.
much.
Maybe
Well, you guys got a lot of work.
A lot of it.
2 years ago, we.
Person for a change.
1, 2, 5, 3, so. Yeah.
All right, so this is our opportunity as commissioners of the Water District to find out what's going on. I have to say, my phone's been pretty quiet. It's a good thing.
Told you.
It's a good thing. I remember the days where I was getting constant calls about this colored water or low pressure, and it's been quiet. So quiet's a good thing. So hopefully it's quiet. It's a good thing. You guys tell us.
Stays that way.
Tell us. So we had a lot going on. You guys have an agenda for this meeting that you want to cover? Or?
Yeah, it's, I think you guys all,
Yeah, we have.
All right.
pretty much the same thing we
Cover
talk,
that, and
it's
then I-
pretty much the same thing we talk about
All right. So
every year, but it's just, or every meeting, that's just updated. So the first thing
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
our pumpage, obviously, our bread and butter, what we do, we pump water to the people of Hampton Bays. It's down about 36% at the moment from last year, from January to April. We
is that?
believe that's attributing to the rainy forecast. You know, the weather's been in our favor. We also did a read estimate in February due to the weather, the snow. We weren't able to go out and actually get the reads off the touch pads on the meters. So what we do is the system will generate a read estimate to what its average was the last 3 or 4 years. So it's not an accurate read. So that was down a little bit from 21. 21, we pumped over 8 million gallons of water. I'm sorry, 8 million cubic feet of water. And this year we only needed about 2. So that also attributes to COVID. COVID in 2020 obviously brought a lot of people out to Hampton Bays early, and a lot of usage with people manicuring their lawns a lot earlier. So like 20 to 21, that kind of carried over. But now this February we see a lot of decrease. So it's good. It's good for us because the DEC wants to see that. We want to see that. We don't want to see people using a lot of water. We wanted to see them
Right,
using
but
it
it's
for their.
also our main revenue source.
Right, but we believe that will catch up. We still have our busy season coming. We're not even close to that right now. We're averaging about 3.1 million a day. So we're upwards of over 8 during our peak season. And once that weather breaks, it's going to be, heels in the ground, ready to go. But this is the first time in probably, I would say, 5 to 6 years that we have every well up and running, able to pump the system. The last couple of years.
11 of them, right?
Yeah, 11 wells. The
11
last couple
wells.
of years, we've had,
Been running for
the iron treatment plant was going in. It wasn't complete due to the COVID. There was a lot of delays, so we had to do bypass piping to get the wells to be able to run the system. So those wells were down probably until about June or July. Our tank wasn't up online until about June or July. And our main plant, we were doing the carbon exchange. That went well into July. So we were lingering in pump capacity last year, but we maintained and were able to do it. But this year, we were very proactive with getting our GAC up online. We got it online in March, so the wells have been running since March. Our iron plant is pretty much 99.9% complete with our tank 100% complete, so that tank and iron treatment removal is up and running. And
The one well at Field 3 that was down because of a detection?
yeah,
We're able to use.
right now, as of now, the recent testing showed non-detect at Plant 3 and Plant 5.
So
So,
the county's okay with us using it?
yes, we had a deferral to allow us to use it through the summer, the peak season, which that gave us, we breached the MCL, the 10 that was set. We had that 40, the anomaly, but we never reached that point or never went over the MCL thereafter, so we think it's an anomaly or a bad sample. So we had to do what the state wanted us to do, go for the deferral, run through all the chain of command and everything, and do everything right, notify the public, which we did. But since that point, we never breached that 10,
great.
never came close to it.
How often are we testing it?
We
Quarterly?
test monthly, just at that field. But that field hasn't ran since last September. So we've been using that very seasonal, but just because of the point of the PFCs possibly coming back. And now if we put the
But now-
demand
now
on the
it's
system.
Online again.
Yes, it's online, ready to go, but now as we put the demand on the system, we're going to monitor it a little bit closely to make sure that those levels don't come back. But with that, we also we're not adopting, but we're using a new method. It's called the EPA 533 method. We were using the 537. Now the 533 tests for 25 different compounds of perfluorinated. Come with the UCMR5, we're going to have to test for 29 different compounds with lithium, which is next year. So we're going to be ready, prepared, using that method, be able to transition nicely from UCMR now to UCMR5 next year. But that also has the chance of picking up another unregulated contaminant with PFCs. But right now, we are using that. We have not had a detection of any of those 25. So we'll see what happens once the demand on the system goes and if those numbers shall rise or not. But we're going to monitor very closely.
Okay.
The wells that were also the detected wells, they're still on the last on, first off rotation. Or any of the wells that have been detected where there's been any detections or any elevated levels of any of those wells, no matter what the chemicals were, are still on the last on, first off basis as we were running for the blending process also, so.
Yeah, very seasonal. We're using
Yes.
very seasonal.
Okay.
So that's kind of like our pumpage where we're at now. So, but the
Any
board
other
knows and the people at
questions
Hampton
about
Bays
pumpage?
know that we're ready for the demand of the season. So.
Okay, good.
That's good. Sounds good.
Questions about pumpage?
No.
All right, let's move on to the
Interested in
next
the
step.
next item.
I guess it's the four-field we'll talk
Yeah,
about?
iron
Yeah,
manganese.
so Weber will jump in a little bit right after I'm done, but it was a long project. It was delayed, obviously. We talked about the delays in COVID, the economy around us. Parts and pieces are delayed. A lot of the stuff is imported, and those imports were delayed more because of, what's going on around us. But with H2M's help, your guys' help, and the Water District, we were able to complete the project and not really have any hiccups. So here, I'll just let Chris take over and.
Correct. So, I think James kind of intimated to it earlier. We're 99% complete. We're in a punch list phase, so really it's just getting all of the contractors to finish up their punch list. There's a couple of change order items that we're waiting on time frame for, we're going to replace a couple doors. So that's just really just waiting out that time frame.
Filters are operational.
But the filters are operational and the plant has been up and running, and obviously you said earlier, like, you're not getting calls about brown water. It's working properly. And then James is running, I think, probably as their lead well right now.
4-1 is their lead well.
Because we're within the 1 year time frame where it's under warranty, so we want to make sure we run that. So if anything does come up, we're still under the warranty period.
We have 2 wells at that field.
2 wells, yes.
And they're both running?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, and the filters are working great? Do you have?
Fantastic, yeah.
I have something for you. I went down and I collected a sample for these
great.
filters. I wanted to show you guys here. I don't want to cut into
No,
it,
go for it,
but
go
I've been
for it,
kind of.
You got a little present for us?
Yeah, I got a present. As far as the four-field and the filtration system, I myself personally, as a resident, a consumer, and the superintendent of the Hampton Bays Water District, everybody in this room that worked on this project should be very, very, very proud of themselves as being part of the group of people that
Do I need an umbrella?
No, but it took me a while to get this very carefully without getting any on my hands. These filters are blown off twice a week. I believe that the filter process twice a week is around 2 hours. And I am saying we're averaging probably, what, close to 1,000 gallons a minute out of those, give or take? At the blow-off rate?
1,200 gallons a minute.
1,200 gallons a minute.
On
So
backwash.
1,200 gallons a minute on backwash, twice a week. We have black water for 2 hours. Okay?
Black water that would have been in the system.
And no, it's not, it's coming from the ground. We're
No, but
stopping
in
it.
the old days.
In the old days.
It would have gone straight
In
to.
the old days, this is what's going into our system.
Yummy.
Yeah, looks like something my dog,
So what that is oxidized iron. So the process of how which, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
how it
don't
works.
touch it.
is-
I was very
The well,
careful.
both wells pull the water out of the ground, then it's hit with a high concentration of chlorine. So what that chlorine then brings the iron out of suspension and oxidizes it, so it makes it, relevant in water.
This-
So then it goes through the sand filters, the sand pulls the iron out, collects it, now that it's oxidized, and then it comes back through and goes to the system as pure diamond blue water.
Diamond blue
so
water.
that's the total off from the blow.
This is
the
what's
backwash
coming
program.
out of the ground.
That's a
filtered,
sample.
How many
blown,
gallons?
and this is just a sample. This
Right.
isn't all
What
of
do
it.
you think the total-
Mind you that this is one scraping out of a pit that's 80 feet wide, 60 feet wide, give or take a bit, by 100 and something feet across. And now, since it was scraped out in January,
Just before we put the filter.
yeah, just before the filters were on, there was white sand on the bottom. Now there's about 3 or 4 inches of this on the top of that white sand.
What's the disposal
That's in the blow-off
protocol
pit,
of
you
this?
said.
And that's, this is
That-
also
So
gonna.
you probably have, how big is the pit?
The pit is, like I said, it's about 60, on the bottom of the
15
surface of that
feet.
blow-off pit, yeah, it's the well.
No, but like the size of this room, the pit?
Oh, yeah.
The pit was
definitely,
built to
easily,
hold
yeah.
1 million gallons of water, so picture a pit holding
Yeah,
1 million
it's,
gallons of
I'm,
water.
I'm talking the bottom surface is
So you're saying
approximately
it's like
60
four
feet.
inches?
Yes.
4 inch deep
you're
of
supposed to be able
that.
to drain the
60
tank
foot
in there.
wide by, say, 100 foot long floor.
Yeah, so in a room bigger than this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
to,
this-
to answer your question, the removal process, so basically, once it gets to a point where the backwash, the actual water filtration slows down, then the district can reach out to any of their general contractors. They come in with basically an excavator, go down to the sump, muck it out, replace down some filter fabric, some sand, and just replace it. It's honestly.
Where does the muck out go?
I actually don't.
I mean,
They're
it's
working
iron,
with
right?
the
Is
the
it-
Yeah, it's
highway might
iron.
be
It's
able
not.
to
It's
take
not a
it
hazardous
all the way.
material. No,
Yeah.
no. It
What
would.
I'm trying to make.
Yeah, we don't
It would
need
be
like a
routine.
pump truck from like
No,
a
no.
cesspool company to come and take this away. We can
think
bring it to a
it's fine.
landfill and just
I
dump
think
it, they'll
it's
dry it out and they'll just
Yeah.
push it.
Yeah.
There might be an end user for that.
Yeah,
A
I think
steel
there
plant.
is.
Fertilizer and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, there's a process, you dry it out and then you filter it and then you put it into fertilizer. People use it in your lawn if you
Yeah,
want.
or steel.
Yeah.
Cassandra likes iron.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're saying is it's a tremendous success.
Yes.
Tremendous success.
And
Tremendous success.
so let me ask some related questions to that. So obviously the water's clear,
The water's clear.
and which is good for customer satisfaction. Are we using less orthopolyphosphate?
Yeah, especially at the Ford field. We were putting
Yes.
over 6 gallons a minute, just to
This is a sequestering
encapsulate
agent.
the iron so that it
Bad
wasn't
soda.
going in system. But obviously, if you introduce heat, like people's hot water heaters would bring it back into suspension and remove it from the poly. So now we're just putting maybe 0.2 gallons a minute in just to keep the chemistry of the water the same because it was a dramatic change. So
But
we
it's a
don't want
lot
to
less
change.
phosphate, which is good for the
Not less
bay.
phosphate.
Yes.
We've also lowered the chlorine residuals in the district. There is no reason to have the elevated levels of chlorine in that district. We were running 1.5s, 1.6 in the outliers of the district. And that, in my eyes, is way too much. The system doesn't need it. It's been sanitized, and so Jason Heim, we got his blessing, the residuals are now we're carrying 3s and 4s, 5s, which is a normal.
Now, the filter, a couple questions about the filter. The filter itself, is it like a fabric filter or what?
It's green sand?
Green. Yeah. So it's a green sand. It's a media.
So at some point, I mean, right now, we backwash it, that's how.
At some point, it will
change
reach
the
the end
shape.
of its useful life. In which case, it would need to be. We would contact a contractor, they would come in, they would remove the existing media and replace it.
How
Typic-
often is that?
Honestly, I've seen typically you're looking at 15 to 30 years.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to give you a.
I'm not gonna
but
worry
it's-
about it.
Yeah,
We don't,
yeah.
But, no, that's good, so.
As long as it's
It's not like the
routine.
GAC filter where.
No.
3 to
As long as
5,
it's routinely maintained and which they're doing properly with the backwash and it doesn't get infiltrated with iron, it's not going to be, it shouldn't be an
Yeah,
issue.
it's all non-soluble stuff.
The other question I want to ask, this is year-round filtration?
Yeah.
So,
That well is going to be lead from start to finish.
so the winter time,
We didn't have one issue. I ran through the winter, no problem.
so did we put blankets around them or
No,
anything?
We did not, no.
No,
As long as it's operating, just the pure volume of water and it moving, it's not going to
right,
freeze.
there's no,
So we don't need to do anything to that section where they're sticking, I haven't actually seen it, but I remember in the design specs.
There's nothing that needs to be done in order to prevent that freezing. Now, we could, and it's something that I think James is looking into, we could add that just in the event that we wanted to take that well offline for a longer term. The other option would be to drain it, but I mean, with it being the
Don't
lead
they make
well,
like blanketed sleeves that go around them, or we could
they
have
make
them
a sleeve,
maybe
they make some insulation. There's a few options that we could look at if we wanted to.
in a real cold winter, that might be the,
Yeah, it's more, I mean, it's like I said, as long as it's operating, it's never going to be an issue, because you're just moving that water, so there's no opportunity
I
for
think
it to freeze.
the vessels are rated in below temperatures. I think it was like below 20. I think
Mhm.
Hungerford and Terry was telling me that they
Yes.
actually were able to run no issues. So
okay.
if we have that kind of weather out here,
We're having a bigger
Probably-
issue.
we're having a bigger issue than
Right,
right now.
you know, I was,
Probably
I
build
was,
something,
I was in favor of the whole being, enclosed.
yeah, you could
And it
probably
actually,
build something.
it looks nice the way it is now, it's functional.
No, we don't.
And
We
there's
don't need to waste the capital
No.
on building something.
Yeah,
We can
there's
put it
no-
towards things that need
something more important.
attention.
Yeah.
We did want to build something for the GAC filters.
Yeah, but remember, again, we wanted to talk, because the nitrate levels there are high, the chloride levels, we don't want to breach those levels, because once you do that, if you
Oh, so you don't
enclose
want to do that
them,
year-round.
they have to be seasonal, because once, if we
All
breach
right,
that, we're not.
I don't want to
gonna
jump
be able
ahead here, so, all right, so any other questions about Field 4?
Yeah, I do. The million-gallon tank that we have here, we did this capital improvement to protect the investment, right? Inside, the layer was sloughing off, right? That was the verb that they used.
Delaminating and all.
It was delaminating, okay, and the paint was failing. Is it possible for members of the Water District to go and physically inspect the inside of the tank?
Well, we're due for, like Chris was saying, after, we have a year anniversary of the tank also, as we do the iron treatment. So they're actually going to come drain the tank. The company's going to go in, inspect the inside, make sure there's no, any issues will be resolved at no cost. And then every year, H2M does an interior inspection of the tank to make sure that the paint's in good condition, making sure that there's no issues.
And that's covered under the warranty that you mentioned
The
earlier?
warranty, 1-year warranty for the company, and then we have in our contract with H2M that they come out every year and do a tank inspection, so it's
Okay,
already
good. Originally, those issues were happening
Yeah.
pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the onslaught, that delaminated almost immediately, and it was never, it was just left go.
Right.
But you have a significant change in chemistry, right? Along those lines, in the storage product you have now from what you had previously, or not?
You're saying the
There's
water
no,
quality?
there's no change in the water chemistry whatsoever.
Okay,
no.
so you still have the maintenance issue, and I think that's what the councilman was alluding to, is how you're gonna schedule that
Yeah.
and make sure we
Yearly.
don't have.
Every year it's
Yeah.
gonna be inspected.
Yeah, great.
The only chemistry.
What I was saying was
That's
that we
not there.
protect our investment of the million-gallon tank that the people of the Hampton Bays
Understood.
Yes.
bought, because without that inside coating and the outside coating, it's going to rust. It's going to be a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
So, very good.
So James, I think,
Warranty.
if you want, we can also schedule a walkthrough.
Yeah, that's our other thing, if you guys will set it up through your office, to come through the field and to see what the investments went to and actually see the filters and
Yeah,
and work.
absolutely.
Maybe set it up, we can do a backwash, or we can show you how the backwash process works and how it dumps in.
I'd like to see him backwash it, I wanna see him,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
have it when it's backwashing.
Well, we can do a manual on it anytime.
Just do a trip over there, see the directional drilling going on.
Yeah, we have there are little ancillary stuff like Chris was saying that needs to be done, some painting, some stuff
Some
like
seating,
that. But it's, yeah, so hydro seeding, but definitely so you guys can come and see. Maybe
Yeah, I
do
mean,
like
when you
a
have an
ribbon
event
cutting or
that you
something.
think it's worth it, definitely.
Yeah, whenever
No, it
we're
works.
ready to go now.
All right.
So
Cool, definitely.
nice
I
to
will.
have you guys.
Well worth the investment.
Can we do that individually, do we need to do that as a group?
Whatever's convenient for the board.
Well, it's more challenging to do it as a group. I have to notice the meeting,
Sure.
whereas everybody individually could go anytime.
Come as you may. Yeah. That's,
Set up a meeting with you. I think that's probably easier. On field 4, I know there's room for a third well. We're not putting that one on,
No, we have discussion of a further well, I guess, in the open floor.
but you don't need it over there in Sears Bellows, or okay. It's just that that's such a source of clean water, other than the iron.
The problem with that is that there's no transmission out of that field. We'd have to put
You have to push
transmission
it.
main all the way to the east side of the town from, 20 Flanders Road to Newtown Road. So the cost of pipe right now is substantial. It's 40% over the top of what it was last year, so
Okay,
that'd be,
all right. Any other questions about the iron manganese filtration? All right, let's move on to the next item, which is, I guess, directional drilling.
So, yes, next week we start breaking ground for the pond clog. This is obviously the one that we knew that was under a strict New York State Board of Health mandate that it had to be done by a certain point. Again, delays for COVID. We were able to get one more extension, 6-month extension. Jason Heim was not easy to write that, but he gave it to us, knowing that the paperwork that HUM provided was what put it over the top for the allowance, because it was going in motion. It was just a little bit delayed, so it wasn't like we didn't have anything.
It was originally March 22.
In March.
March 15th of 2022 is supposed to be done, but
So we got to.
Till September.
We're going to meet that, the
September, yeah.
6-month extension.
He's very ecstatic.
Varying
Boots
any
on the ground now,
problems,
so.
barring any problems will be done, and the company says 30 days. They're working 30 days, 12-hour
Continuous.
shifts, and they say the possibility of ending sooner, and they're starting on the 16th, so.
Yes.
So they're starting next week?
Next
it?
Monday.
Next week, next
Yeah,
Monday.
they're out there now doing some prep.
Is it
start the
some
drill.
interesting to watch, or?
Yeah, you might wanna
Truthfully,
take
I
a
mean,
ride.
yeah, the actual initial portion of the drill is, and maybe where they're pulling back the pipe. I mean, a large portion of it is obviously not going to be visible because we're going 50 feet below the bay. But when they're actually,
Cuttings up.
yeah, when they're actually pulling it, I mean, there's portions of it that are definitely, it's an interesting process for sure.
It's a standstill drill machine, see?
You might hit
Lay the
on
pipe out, right?
Yeah, they laid a pipe out in fusible sections, and it's just gonna be out on Lighthouse Road, and then they're just gonna slide it in.
Oh, they fuse section?
Yeah,
Yes.
Fused together, it's fed into the machine.
So what are you doing with the cuttings? You gotta de-water those and.
Yeah, there's the bentonite that comes out, obviously, will be taken care of. DEC is gonna be on site a lot, so the company knows that they have waterways around them that has to be protected. They hit it home right away. H2M told them to make sure that you guys have your paperwork in order and all your processes dotted and ready to go, because they will be there watching.
Yeah.
But they understand.
what's the pipe is, when you're saying fused, I mean, I thought it's polypropylene, right?
It's polypropylene, yeah. So each 20-foot section is fused together, and it actually,
Like the plastic is.
yeah, to create one long,
Electrofused.
to create one long pipe, essentially. So as opposed to the typical water main where one inserts into the next, these two pieces would be fused together, and it actually creates a stronger bond than the pipe itself when they perform that.
Okay. Obviously, at the end of it, they pressure test it.
Yes, yes.
And if there's some issue with leakage, you got to pull the whole thing.
Then yeah, that falls upon the contractor to fix. But yeah, we do full pressure testing, bacteriological testing, everything that's required.
And how,
But they do that as they're,
That pipe
they
right
they
there, I
test
think it's
the
actually
bond
4 inches
before
thick.
it slides.
Yeah, so the bond itself, I mean, they're reviewing as they're doing
It's a
each
pipe
portion.
process.
Yeah.
how big is the pipe?
This one is a 12-inch HDPE pipe.
It's sleeve, but
That's the outer diameter?
Right,
of it?
yes.
it's a 14-inch sleeve that goes in, but it's 4 inches thick. So the inside diameter of the pipe is 14 inches, and the same thing with the inside diameter of the 12-inch.
Right.
And it's 4 inches thick. So it's gonna be a sleeve, and then the pipe through the sleeve.
Which is great for the future.
That'll be done long after.
Hopefully, I won't see you ever see
Yeah.
Long after we're
All right,
all
so
gone and
the outer, so what you were talking about with the fusing is the outer sleeve.
Both of them.
both sleeves.
The inside, the inner pipe is also.
inside and outside sleeves,
Yeah.
fused.
It's gonna be like 2,700 feet of pipe.
Yeah, so essentially, instead of multiple 20-foot sections, you end up having one 2,700-foot long piece of pipe. And that's how they connect.
But there's
those.
a pipe within the pipe.
Yes. They're not fused together, but
No.
The sections are PVC, right? They
Uh,
get glued, but it's not glue, it's a
No, it's
solution
not.
that
Polypropylene.
fuses them.
No, so it's
molecular?
polypropylene, and it's actually a heat fuse that gets done. So there's no glue or anything like that. There's no concern about any kind of VOCs or anything.
Right.
Interesting.
Got
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty typical too, also oil.
The electric
Yeah.
process is
Very-
really kind
very-
of
Yeah.
heat up both sides
I'm
of it,
used to this, so it sounds good.
right along the same.
So,
Yeah, it'll be,
So-
it'll be going on, so if anybody can go and watch and see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So there's a-
well stopping, it's pretty.
The
It is
connection,
neat.
Well, it's a whole, you don't really see much as the machine's working, you know, they just feed, but the guys.
It's a
you
big
get to see
machine?
Guys putting.
Oh, it's a substantial.
But they do
huge, yeah.
blocks, I know, in the industries I worked in, they do blocks and they test those sections even before they go through the slurry pipe. And then they can cool it or put vacuum on it, depending on what they want.
However
to
they're
do
doing it.
On the outer side.
Yeah, I think they're, in this case, because it's such a long run, they're actually going to be filling the inner pipe with water to sort of float it,
Yeah,
to
let
reduce
it
the friction of
Find
it.
its
Yep.
center.
I used to do something like this with residential plumbing, putting in the ground drillers. The landing site was always a question.
Yes.
They're confident that it's going to come up in the,
They're very confident. I've seen, I think.
on the
3
other side, in other words, where it's going to
Yes.
come up.
Yeah.
I've
Hit the mark, yeah.
It's a
yeah.
quarter mile away.
Yeah,
I've
they're
seen
confident.
I've seen about 3 in my time working with H2M, and it always amazes me how close they are to the mark when they're professional. They've been doing this for many years. We went through all the documentation of the subcontractor, and they have come with glowing reviews. So I fully expect it to be right within that spot.
See, that's the part what I want to see is.
Yeah, the company's well vetted, the company's
Yeah.
been vetted very well to make sure that they can hit the mark at this drill, so we are very confident in them.
so the,
Yeah, I've seen directional drilling on a 24 well site head underwater, and they hit the mark.
Yeah, it amazes me.
It's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
the way I spoke to this guy, I spoke to yesterday before the meeting, he made it was like it was nothing.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, we're gonna get
Just
done
very
here, we're
short
going over to
distance.
Boston, then we're going down to Maryland, and it was
It's
like,
all-
yeah, we
it's
got
all
a job.
GPS.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Partially GPS.
Like, this is.
they've been in the field for a while.
Yeah, it
so
seems like it's almost, as much as it's amazing to us, it's like a nothing job to them.
Yeah.
It
And
really.
it's a relatively short distance for this.
For
Pretty
them,
impressed, and
yes.
he said, yeah, we'll be out of here.
For us,
tomorrow."
it's a long
Like, we were putting in a meter service.
we got the right
you know?
company.
yeah, good. Well, we actually have 2 different companies. One,
One
Yeah,
for
with
the
subcontractors, yeah.
south, one for the north. Yes.
so with the connection from the current system to this new pipe, is that all underground connection? Or?
Yeah, that'll all be underground.
Everything's
So
underground.
wherever those 2 portions come up with the HDPE, we'll transition over to cement line ductile iron pipe, and then make those connections to both portions of the system at that point.
Okay, and then the old pipe, what happens to it?
Exhumed, we had to exhume it from the bay.
Part of the
DC.
Army Corps?
Army
Corps,
Corps.
yes.
Army Corps?
Scuba diving, huh?
Yeah, Army Corps had requested that we remove completely the existing pipe along the bay bottom.
You don't want to be there.
So at the meeting,
That's gonna be a site.
they said they had a year to do that. Are they doing
Yeah.
it right away?
It's
or-
gonna be, yeah, they're gonna probably continue that.
Well,
process.
yeah, they're probably, G&M's gonna be in charge of that.
So
and
the
they said that they're
directional drill company's gonna pull it out?
Yeah, not the actual directional drilling company. G&M is not the directional drilling company. They're in charge of the
But
project.
it's part of the job.
Part of the job is in their contract to remove that pipe within a year.
Then it
of-
goes
of
to
start.
Scrap metal, whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, as soon as the connections are made and they got it pressurized, bacteria's come back, they'll start breaking down that other stuff and take it right off the beach, I'm sure. They're not gonna wanna stay here. As quick as they sound like they're gonna go from job to job, they're not gonna be,
No, I just was wondering about the pipe, whether
it's gone.
should be removed. I guess it should be removed. I know they dumped off of
100%.
the inlet. They were dumping parts of the old
Have our water main.
bridge.
and everything, yeah.
Which one? The
Tappan Zee.
Tappan Zee
Yeah.
Bridge went out there. Maybe
Couple
they
of
could
fishing
throw,
boats.
throw,
They can have our
throw
own
pipe.
main too.
Well, you know, 'cause, aquatic.
It's
I don't know, it's
our
like an offshore
donation.
reef,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our donation.
but whatever. It's not going to stay in Shinnecock Bay. So.
No.
So the boat ramp is staying closed till mid-June
Yes.
Correct.
down there? And what about parking for Memorial Day weekend?
The
beach.
parking, well, obviously the satellite parking is closed. That's there.
Okay.
So this is gonna be just a regular beach, the Ponquag Beach, and Kristen knows, and the trustees are well aware. They were notifying, I believe.
That's clearly going to be shut down, so.
Yeah, there's gonna be signage and taped and everything. Notices went out through the website and stuff, so.
Okay.
And just for the public knows that you're going under the topography of the bay bottom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Below the bay bottom.
50 feet below.
Yeah.
50 feet total, is 33 just below the bottom of the bay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, have your water level, then you have the bottom of the bay, it's
Yeah.
33 feet below.
So
30
it's-
feet.
We're required to be a
Question
minimum
comes
of
up a lot.
25, so
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some,
25 feet below the
is
bay
the
line.
requirement, and we're below that.
Well, it's incremental, as you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna have to deal with freeze-ups or any issues.
No.
Yeah.
So,
And we won't have to have that drip at the end of the
dredge.
road that.
yeah, we actually fixed that up. I don't know if you've been down there recently. We had, because we've got that open, we've had to have that, you
Yeah.
know. That's a whole nother thing too with
They used to keep it
residuals.
dripping so it didn't freeze.
Yeah, because, well, that and to keep the residuals up there, because it's such a long run, and the groundwater that's there and stuff, and the temperature of the water, by the time the water gets all the way down there and there's no movement, the chlorine residuals drop off to nothing, so we got that open to keep the water flowing down to the end to keep the residuals up. But because of what it looked like, yeah, snow fence around it, we went and we cleaned it all up, we put a fence around it, now there's a stockade fence, painted the hydrant, made it look a little bit better. And we actually, because the residuals don't need to be as high as they were, we have shut it down, and, yeah, so it's not, it looked like shit down there. So we went down just recently and put a little stockade fence around it,
Good.
piled some rocks, made it
It's an industry term.
industry time.
Do you wanna talk about the other directional drilling?
Yeah, actually, we had significant delays with that because obviously we needed to get the easement through the park because we're going to parkland, so it was a little bit more of a process, similar process, but another step. And we've been working with Jim Burke, and he actually got some pretty good news in the last couple of days that
Oh,
looks
yeah?
like,
Yeah, Fred's been very helpful, and Mark McRedmond in my office and Kathleen have been working. We're working together with the county, and so Fred is indicating that he's going to present this for approval at the state legislature in June, early June, so we should have, hopefully we'll have this.
So in essence, the issue is.
Alienation.
The pipe comes up on the east side, it's in Mashut County Park.
You're right.
They're considering a water main, a non-park.
Yeah, well, it's, right, it's,
So
I
that
mean,
has to be
I really can't hold the
alienated?
county, I mean, it's kind of
It's
illogical,
law,
but
I
if that's
guess
the
it
law,
is.
really,
Wow.
it's, so the law is not settled on whether underground utility lines under parkland is alienation. The case that everybody
Playing
knows.
it safe, right?
Yes, yes, so it's actually a fairly simple, relatively simple procedure to get approval for alienation for this type of use throughout the state. So Fred has been his office has been extremely helpful getting this through for us. And we're working with the county. The county has to do their own resolution, and we've given them all the information that they need from us to get that done. And I'm working with Bob Braun and Brittany Toledano over in the county attorney's office, so, and with Jason Smagan in the park. So we're getting there, so hopefully.
Their timing is good.
It is,
They-
yeah,
that- They happen to be in session right now,
yeah.
otherwise we'd have to wait for a month.
Is it going to require a referendum,
No.
this kind
No.
of alienation? Good.
So how does that work?
It doesn't even
with,
require,
like,
I don't
Michael?
think it'll even require a replacement parcel because it doesn't impact the utility. Matter of fact, it enhances, and that was our first argument, was really it enhances the utility of the park. We're gonna be providing better water pressure for their use, for the county use, and for fire safety and everything else. And that's all makes sense, and we all understand that. It's just that the law is unsettled on this issue of underground utilities going on.
Well, that's a question I had, because when we do this with LIPA, there's never an issue of that under parklands. There's never an issue for drilling and setting cable underground. I don't understand the difference in approach, so it's an interesting question. Why, under this circumstance, it's questioned, under other circumstances, it's not.
Well, it should always be an issue, quite frankly, and it's kind of, I think it's just the law has to be clarified on. The leading case on this alienation issue was a case dealing with Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx, and where they were going to be temporarily impacting about 6 of the 18 golf holes for a temporary sewage treatment plant. And in the middle of the decision, they talked about public utility lines and whether, a public utility line underneath the parkland is alienation. And they said, well, we haven't addressed that yet. So that's the closest thing we have to.
Have,
It's kind of,
with the cable coming from off, all right, we'll talk offline.
yeah. So,
yeah, so we're in a better spot than we thought we were with that project. it's equally as important to do this one because it's going to alleviate the issue of the low volume of water on the east side of town. It creates redundancy, and the customers should see a dramatic increase in the volume during peak times. That's the biggest reason, because peak times is low to no water pressure due to the popularity of irrigation on that side, obviously. So this is going to definitely alleviate that issue.
What's our time frame on it? Because Albany, when we have to get what, the governor to sign it or something?
Once we get the approval and they approve it,
So that's probably June, maybe?
Yeah, we're hoping early June.
Early June, and then they could start the project?
Once we get that, then we actually have to, we've been waiting for that in order to push through the project to Army Corps and DEC for approval. So once we get that actual approval, then we can proceed with receiving those permits.
Well,
So
I'm
there's
just
a,
concerned that we'll miss the summer season, so.
I believe we probably will. We've already had a conversation
We
with.
probably will miss the summer.
yeah.
Yeah,
It'll probably be in the middle of August or September by the time we
get approval.
get approval. I mean, unfortunately, there was nothing we could do to push it forward.
Meanwhile,
You're talking at
we
least
d-
November.
we have done some stuff to alleviate pressure issues on that
Yeah.
side, right? We opened up that one interconnect.
Open up the interconnect,
Has that helped? A
I
little bit?
think a little bit.
Little bit?
Yeah, There hasn't been as
The
many
one on
complaints
New
on
Place
that.
Road you're talking about, we came up with that, yeah. It takes the friction loss off the main, going over the bridge, so that helps out. And a lot of our water conservation efforts have helped too. We hit home with that, with the odd even watering days and so
Yeah.
forth like that.
Yeah, I was hoping that this summer, we'd have this problem fixed, but in the fall,
Yeah.
maybe late summer possibly.
Yeah, and we've had discussions with the contractor already. He's aware of the delays, and he's kind of agreed to hold the price where it's at right now. So not, we're gonna work with him to make sure that as soon as he's able to go, he can get that done. So
And
he's
they've
ready to
ordered
go.
some parts for the job too, so,
Correct.
we have the PO allocated for the job, so they've ordered some stuff, knowing that there's gonna be back ordering issues due to
Right.
the current state of the economy, so they've ordered stuff ready to go, so there wouldn't be too much delays, if any, getting the material needed to
Right.
complete the
Yeah, the
project.
material will be ready to go.
Take advantage of the
Yeah.
delay.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have the ability to pay them for what they ordered, they're gonna keep the price of what they said, so we were just being proactive if we authorize them to order stuff for the job.
Where is the connection on the west side of the canal?
Would be over, where Sunset Avenue is?
Mhm.
Yeah, right on Sunset Avenue, in that.
Okay.
There's a small main improvement from
Yes.
Newtown Road to Sunset going east, and that's where that connection is gonna be.
And
It's
that's
just
on
a
our
large-
right of way, the town's right of way?
Yes,
And this is like 25 feet below the bottom of the.
the drill.
The drill will be, yes.
Yeah.
And the pipe is how thick?
I believe
Same stuff,
Think
isn't
same
it?
stuff,
Yeah.
same size, correct? Yeah.
12 inch,
Yeah, same stuff.
more volume to that side of town.
Yep, that's good. Okay, so that's directional
Yeah,
drilling.
just to tie in the directional drills, just again, congratulations on getting that grant that helped
You too.
fund
Yeah.
$2.7 million of this project. It wasn't easy, Chris was a big part of it too. Weekends scanning papers in and signing documents and taking pictures and everything, but we got it done, we met the deadline. So kudos to you guys for helping us out, getting
That's
this
a big
done.
deal.
Kudos to you
That's-
guys,
yeah.
really.
That's
This
what,
is
like
great.
60% of the.
60% of the
total?
total project, yeah, that basically funds the Ponquag Bridge project.
Yeah.
We need to update the capital plan to reflect the grant monies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's great, good job, all of you.
Yeah.
For getting it in and on time and for getting the award.
Mhm.
That's a relief for the ratepayers,
Yeah.
the Hampton Bays.
Critical infrastructure.
Yep, okay, so that's directional drilling, you want to move on to any other topics?
Yeah, so we're talking about a new well in Hampton Bays. I've been working trying to find a piece of property. The most ideal piece of property that we found was across from Contrinka's Deli, owned by CPF, and I was talking back and forth with CPF to see if there's some way to get legislation to allow us to adopt a piece of property just to put a well on. She said it would probably take a lifetime of legislature to try to get that reversed. So she said the best thing for us was to find other means of the property. I sent everybody a copy. Everybody should have received a copy of the piece of property that I think and H2M also agrees. It was inter-office, so I don't know if you guys have it with you. But,
It's not in my pack.
It's at the end of Quail Run.
yeah, I think it's the Channing Cross. I forget, Channing Cross or Quail Run. 35 Channing Cross, I believe it is, the property. We actually have an easement that runs through that property with a water main that goes there that connects the two cul-de-sacs, Channing Cross and Quail Run. It's roughly 35 acres and it's owned by the town. So basically, you're going to bring it up here today. We would be asking for around roughly 6 acres of property, of that property, to put a new well. Because within our master plan, within the next 2 to 4 years, we need to put a new well somewhere in Hampton.
Wait, this is CPF-owned property?
No, it's not.
No.
It's town, Southampton owned,
We own it, but not CPF?
not CPF. And we have an easement that runs through it because our water main runs right smack in the middle through it.
It's like a subdivision reserve, it looks like.
Yeah, so if we can work on, I would ask the board to work on maybe seeing what was the plan for this piece of property, if there's anything that can be worked out with the water district to allocate some property to put a well in, because it is detrimental to the future of Hampton Bays that we do put another well in. And this will also is in a great spot because it's between elevations. It's, not the highest, not the lowest, it's in between.
Right.
So it's a very good spot for a well, and it also would give us outlet for future transmission, because now we're going to have that main that runs across Sunset Avenue, Newtown Road, up to the east side. This is good. This well is going to be relevant close to that transmission where that's going to be. So it leaves us options for the future to come out of that well field with the larger diameter water main for the future use. So basically what it would come down to, if we were able to do a test well on this property, so basically what
Are
happens
you
is
trying to do a tank here too, or just a well?
just a well.
This is on the north side of 27, north of 27,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is that subdivision open space, this property?
Have you
Is that how we got it?
overlaid that over
It's
the
near the,
watershed?
it's near the monuments.
Yeah, H2M is looking into if it's feasible where, the intrusion, saltwater intrusion, but basically we're looking to do like a 400-foot drill test well. We want to find the nastiest stuff if it's out there, and see what the water quality is, see if it's feasible first. But we have to get a permission, obviously, from the board and the town to be able to do one there.
400
This is
feet?
close.
Yeah.
You want to go into the Magathy level?
We go as far as they go to find whatever is possible ever future to go into the well. We're not going to set a well at that depth.
Okay.
This is just a test well, because you want to go deeper than what you're going to set your well depth at.
Is this close enough to downtown?
Yes, well, the theory is now it's going to take the north side is going to take the pressure off to the downtown. If you have this well on the north side, because the north side is a big demand because we're at the highest level in town, and then a lot of our water is pushed to the north because there's no well field really close in coordination of the north side of town. And now that we're going to have that transmission main going from west to east, there's going to be more water volume moving through that area. So now we're going to have this well that would help basically isolate the north side from downtown, which would then give us more water volume into the downtown area and help the east side of town. We're looking at anywhere between a 500 to 750 gallon a minute well there. So it's going to definitely increase the volume of water
Are you
throughout the
conferring
district.
with an engineer on determining the best place for a
Yeah,
well?
yeah. I actually sent 3 options to John Collins. He looked at it and he said this one would be the most feasible to do, being that we have the water main right there already that we can tie into.
Oh, there is a main there?
Yeah, there's a main that runs through that middle of that property.
There's power there too, right?
Yeah.
So
There's
you're,
power, there's water main.
you're all good.
Problem is that Hampton Bay is running out of property. It's either being bought up by CPF or bought up by, people developing the property. But the problem with all the development, we don't have anywhere secured for more water for it to meet the development demand. So obviously, that's what D&B did with our 10-year master plan. They predicted this. This is happening. It's happening all around us. It's
Right.
developing.
It's
More
been
volume.
happening.
So we need to catch this before it becomes an issue.
So first you need the permission to do the test wells to
Yep.
see if it's feasible.
Well, first we have to find out whether this land
Is allowable, yeah. that's
is
what we-
allowable. Jim, you're going to have to do the.
Yeah,
research on that.
actually, Kathleen had mentioned to me.
Yeah, I sent it to everybody, so
Yeah.
everybody had a copy of
It's,
it.
it looks like it's open space from a subdivision, looks like.
That's what I
That's
got.
what it is, right? And there is, my recollection, as you mentioned, James, is that there's you have an easement for a water main, so it's a narrow easement, it's just a question whether you could actually put something like this
Yes.
on this.
So it's probably deeded to us, there's probably restrictions on
Yeah,
how.
we'll have to
it
really
can be
look at
used.
what the restrictions are, if it's, it's open space. It's not CPF, but it is open space, so we'll have to look and,
Yeah,
We're gonna
might
have to
be
examine again, it
yeah.
could move back to the alienation issue possibly again, but we'll look at it to see if there's a way to,
But if it's not CPF, then we might not have a public referendum on it.
right,
We might be able to alienate it in the same way we're doing the
Yeah.
other thing
right,
with Albany.
yeah.
It's almost like our last option. That's, sad to say, but the property in Hampton
Yeah,
Bay,
we're running out of
because we need
space.
the acreage around to be, there's stipulations, you gotta be this far away from cesspools and this far away from the salt water and so forth. So,
But Jim, in order for them to even know if it's feasible, they have to do a test.
Yeah.
So I don't
They can
know.
do tests.
Do we have to go the whole legal
Why waste
route?
the money on the test if we
No,
don't know?
that's what I'm saying. Do we have to go the whole legal route
First.
in order to be able to test?
No, I think you can do a test. If you want to do just a test, you could even do it in the easement area if you wanted to, probably. I mean, I speak with,
yeah.
we can narrow that, we can talk more about that offline, but,
Testing is fairly
Testing.
expensive. It's about 450 grand just to test, just to make sure it's feasible.
how much is it?
450,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm uncomfortable
test well?
with testing this property until we know we can use this property.
Yeah, well, if it's gonna be 450, I would agree, yeah.
Equipment.
Well,
Or vice
listen,
versa,
we can,
so.
well, I know Kathleen's been involved in it, we'll look to see what kind of restrictions there are, and then listen, it is something that, if it does need state alienation, it doesn't sound like it's something that would be insurmountable, it sounds like we're fortunate in the situation, that even if we had to replace the portion that we're gonna be using for the well, if we had to need a replacement parcel, we're in a good situation to do that, because we have the CPF where we buy properties all the time, so if that's the case, I think it's something that's, on first blush, it looks like it's something we probably could accomplish, but it might just take a little time.
If you guys could put the work in, that would be greatly
Yeah,
appreciated.
absolutely.
This is where it starts, right?
This is where it starts, this is where we're
Yeah.
bringing it up now.
Yeah, and Kathleen's already been on it, so I'll follow up with her.
All right?
And you all are convinced that you have enough tank space to?
No, tank space, yeah, it's
You're
actually
fine,
great.
okay.
Especially now that the million
this
gallons
is-
of water is up and running, we have,
This will just be a structure, wells?
yes, this is gonna be a small pump house, that's all, it's gonna be in the middle of the property, nobody, public wouldn't even see it, it's just gonna be a cutout through there, because it's a well house that just pumps out.
All right, any,
Well, except you may need filtration from.
Yeah, we'll go, even that's still not that visible through the wood lines.
Yeah, from one pump.
Let's see if we get the property back.
Yeah. And if you're starting from scratch, it's a lot easier to fit it within one building than it is.
we're gonna take a look at it. Any other items?
Just real quick, just to kind of give you guys a heads up what we're looking to do next year. We want to start our meter replacement program. Obviously, our metering is our bread and butter, that brings the revenue in. A lot of our meters are going towards the 20-year mark, which they only guarantee them up to that point or thereafter. So we're going to look to, that's one of our big capital projects, obviously in our master plan, but that's in the
You're gonna
timeline
try
to
to
start.
go to electronic metering?
Yeah, we're looking to do the drive-by metering. It's more beneficial for us for limiting our manpower to have to be out there. Obviously, there's only 11 of us, and this time of year it gets very busy for other things, installations, repairs, and so forth. So to free up, it takes 4 guys right now, 4 manpower people to go out there and read one cycle every month. So it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to read one cycle with 4 guys. So now we'll be able to free up just one person to do it, and will be accurate, the numbers will be right, and we will be all set from that
Who
point.
do you share that bandwidth with? Do you piggyback that on Lipa's network?
No, they're dedicated to their own. They don't want to share with any, they don't want to be friendly with other utilities.
So we still have that.
You don't have to
That
then
overhead.
go onto people's properties or anything?
Drive-by?
Drive-by, yeah.
Do they have to stop, get out?
How it works,
in?
if there's an issue, if it misses the reader, he went too fast past it, then he'll just have to go, all right, address number 23 Quail Run, we gotta go back to it. He drives up to it, boop, downloads into the software, does their software, talks to governing billing system, and then it goes out. They make it one step further where we don't even have to put a guy out there. Everything gets sent to an antenna to the office every month, and we don't do anything. We're going to look at that, but that might not be feasible because it's very expensive to do this. But the drive-by system is what we're looking for.
So there won't be any more estimates, everything's a true read every month?
Yeah, we won't have to worry about the snow covering. or anything like that.
And they don't have to come out to the property.
We don't have to go on the property, we don't have to go in people's houses, because we do have some metering systems that, I think there's like 6 left that people are in the basement. So we don't have, if something goes wrong, we have to actually physically go in their basement, don't have to worry about us going in there anymore.
Yeah.
And then these things will be not guaranteed, but then they'll have a fresh start for 20 years. So it'll be like 20-year, everything's calibrated, everybody starts new. It will take, we could do it within a year. Most districts spread it between like a 2 to 3 year process of changing it over, but we want to try to do it within 1 calendar year. This way, everything starts at that 1 calendar year. We'll see if it's feasible, obviously.
And who, would the company do the install?
Company does the install, we buy the meters, there's companies like Core Maine, Neptune, Census that sell the meters to us, and then they also contract a company to come out, and they'll go out throughout the district and replace all the meters, and so our manpower won't have to
And
actually.
we have this in the capital budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a reduction of staff. How
Yes.
does that work out net neutral gain? How does that work?
Well, for us, we're not gonna reduce our staff, but actually, we could put our staff towards other things that are needed, like
So it still
installing
is
water
an
meters.
overhead?
Yeah,
Okay, right.
but we don't have to have as many people dedicated to just
To
one.
doing that?
Right.
Got it.
And then we're looking to upgrade our SCADA system. You know, obviously, you know, our SCADA system is the controlling body of the water district. That's our controls, that sees the tanks, the wells, which one to turn on, which one to turn off. The Hampton-based water district is one of the first ones to get this system and adopt this system as it, and this is roughly 20 years ago when they first got this.
It's like the Eagle system? is it?
Eagle Control, yes, supplies it.
Control came out.
So, being that it's this old, they're limited to the items that they can replace, because a lot of the stuff has been upgraded to the newer system. But with the upgrading, we're also gonna increase our security on the software and on our system, so it comes with the best of the best of security. Once we upload this stuff up to the water district, we won't have to worry about any viruses or theft or anything like that. Our system now is safe 100%, but it just takes a little bit more to get it safe. It takes a little bit more stuff because they don't make the product.
Or are you going with a whole different software package?
It's the same software, but it's the newer version. Basically, every well site has to be updated. All the electronics inside the well fields have to be updated, because it's all communications. That's all it is. It's through phone lines and
And that's
stuff.
in your capital program too?
That one wasn't, but this is something that we need to do.
So you need to get an estimate.
Yeah, we do. It's, you know, it's a substantial amount of money, but it's something that has to be done because we're gonna end up losing it and we're not gonna be able to repair it.
But it also gives you a great handle on consumption.
Yes,
In real
more
time.
accurate.
All right, Any,
And then we're looking to do the Rampasher Road transmission main replacement. This one also we could do is we could apply for grants. We're also going to apply for grants for all of them, but this one being that it's infrastructure upgrade and it's detrimental to Rampasher Road because that one has been, the water main has been deteriorating on the inside, so to speak. We did a C-factor test, which tests the smoothness of the pipe on the inside. There's a 10-inch main that runs down that road, and right now it's supplying like a 4-inch main. The turbidity and everything has built up so much on the inside due to the fact that years back that main was pigged, and when they pig it, they actually put a claw on the inside, like a reverse claw that scrapes to the outside and takes all the turbidity off the main, which restores it back to its inner circumference. But the problem with that is that now that turnover to turbidity again is doubled. So it almost is a good thing, but it's a temporary fix where you have to replace that main. So this also is in our capital project. So that's, you know, water supply is our
you're
number
gonna
one
leave
thing.
the old pipe and just run a second line? or-
Yep, yeah, and we're gonna do all service connections, tie-overs, new hydrants, everything. So, other than that, we're looking pretty good.
Any issues with 1,4-dioxane?
Knock on wood, we haven't had any trace.
Okay. Who's doing the water sampling?
Keith Tuttle.
Okay.
So but there have been detections in private wells on the west part of town, short detections on that, just let you know.
1.4 or PFCs?
1-4.
So now, when Walter was doing it,
Warren.
whenever there was, when Warren was doing it, whenever there was an exceedance, he would call me. So I'm assuming there hasn't been an exceedance,
Yeah.
but does Keith know to let me know immediately?
Well,
if
even if, he would, but yes, but even if he, say, forgot to tell you, I get notified, Richie gets notified, Board of Health gets notified, and the state gets notified. So we wouldn't be able to hide anything, or we would know before him to tell, obviously, the board. But
Okay.
we have been well under any MCL or
I want to
NC.
be in that loop, though, so.
And our test results are put on the website every single time we get them, so they're available for anybody to see,
See,
like we
okay.
said. So.
Okay. Anything else?
No, it sounds really good.
Yeah, no, you guys are
Done
doing a
lot
good
of
job. It's, what about, we've had community meetings in the past. I think it might be a good idea. to
Yeah,
have-
we talked about this in February, and we still had the COVID lingering, so we didn't want to, now we're starting to go back to in
Let's do
person.
I think a once-a-year
Yeah.
update.
We also wanted the Ford to get to near completion. We take some pictures so we can show the public, like, this is what we've done. We didn't want to take it with stuff hanging out all
I
over the
think,
place.
yeah, you
Now
guys
it's
should,
cleaned up.
once a year, should present to the community.
Yeah. We definitely got to consider it once we have everything, take
Figure
some
out a
pictures.
spot to do it.
The annex, usually, the town annex.
Anybody has any questions, they come, you send out a notice, and then you could do an overview.
Yeah, it's a substantial investment.
And with all the
Obviously
improvements in the
working,
district
so-
and what's been done with the filtration and stuff,
Yeah, stand
people
up and
should
say
know.
that.
You send out a mailer like Suffolk County Water District does, they do like a yearly water.
Yeah, water quality report.
quality,
Actually,
Yeah.
we just
It was approved by
got
Suffolk
approved
County, yep.
yesterday.
Yes.
So
Should
you
be
guys
going
will
out.
receiving copies. It's going out to every customer in Hampton Bays. It's on our website, it'll be in the library, and it'll be in the annex. So,
Well, then maybe that's enough then.
Yeah, they did a great job getting the word out on the flushing, too. Everybody got a phone call, everybody got something in mail, so
Yeah,
Facebook did a nice job.
social media is key. Social media seems like the way of the new age communication.
Are we doing automated billing, or people, not completely, right? I know people like to come to the,
Last time we talked,
office
yeah,
and
we
pay the
talked, you
bill.
said you guys were gonna look into auto debiting from people's account. I think Len was gonna
Auto
look into that.
pay, yeah.
Yeah, but,
we need to set that up, people like that.
yeah, they don't have to do it. Everybody calls, can we pay, can we pay online? Yes, but there's a 2% fee, and they're like,
I think we got
We
rid
were
of the
talking
2%
about
fee.
getting rid of that.
We
I don't
did,
know if it's,
we got rid of it,
Yeah.
it's for sure?
yeah,
All
it's
right.
gone.
We'll just let people know that it is gone. Because I think it still says on the website, town charges you a 2% fee.
I thought we still had it.
I don't think so.
No, we said we
Len
were
said
taking
it.
it. Double check with-
Receiver brought that up yesterday at our department head meeting.
Yeah,
That
and they
there
said
was no
it's,
fee,
there's
that
no
Robert
fee.
Ross had reported.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You may still say it on
He
the
thought we made a
website.
mistake.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
Well, yeah, we'll make sure that they know, customers do know, but like
And
you
we want to
said.
encourage people to pay by credit card.
Yeah. So they don't have to come out of their house, they can just do it.
Exactly, but, auto pay is nice too, if you feel confident enough to let the water district take, debit your card as needed.
Yeah.
Well,
A lot of times you get, when it's time to pay the bills, sometimes you'll have that parking lot, it's like a McDonald's.
Yeah,
Cars in, and that all day long, they come in waves where you have a line out the door.
yeah, no, that shouldn't be.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
It should all be either online or just automated.
Just with the fact of having a small parking lot, people coming in and out to pay
Yeah.
their bills, it's,
I like auto debit.
Blind side too.
What is that?
Give
I
me
do
the-
every single bill I
Give me
do.
my life back.
I don't write a check.
yeah.
I know, they just
They'd
take
like
them
to
out.
see
Except for
you.
my water bill.
I look at it, see how much they took, but,
Yeah.
all right,
You have all the front office help you need?
Well, right now, we're working with Sandra on getting somebody over, because obviously our main secretary retires June 30th, and she's been there for, I think, 20 years, and she knows the place in and out, so
That's
obviously, every seems office is having problem with staff, but Sandra's working well with trying to get somebody over there for us.
all right, we're good. Thank you, guys. I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Seconded by,
No.
oh, we have a public portion on the water district meeting?
Yes.
All right, I'll withdraw my motion. All right,
Withdraw
is
my
anyone who
second.
wishes to be heard in public portion at the water district meeting? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Same sign.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.